What's happening, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be chatting all things Arsenal and their start to the season so far. And as always, I'm joined by resident Arsenal fan Luke Webb. Webby, thanks for joining me as always, mate. Last time we caught up with each other was just before Arsenal played Chelsea, second game of the season. Obviously, Arsenal lost their 3 games of the season. Not a good start at all by all means, but they followed that up with 3 victories on the spin against Norwich, Burnley and Tottenham. A couple of draws against Brighton and Palace, and then back to winning ways against Aston Villa in the most recent fixture. How would you assess Arsenal's start so far after those first 3 games? Are you impressed with how they've responded to those 3 defeats?
Yeah, big time. I think it was always going to be a tough start with City and yourselves and Chelsea early doors. Like, I don't think we ever expected to get much out of that. The Brentford defeat, again, we had a lot of players missing, so there were circumstances around it. So we were left in a pretty dire situation. However, there was reasons for it. And like you just said, I think since then, you can't really be too unhappy with how we responded. The draws to Palace and Brighton particularly were a bit frustrating because they're games you go into thinking you can win, especially the Palace one. Brighton away is a tough fixture and they're playing okay. But Palace at home, we didn't quite get it right, and Vieira's doing a very good job there. So they deservedly got a point, and we were probably a bit lucky to come out of it. They were unlucky to not win the game. We were probably a bit lucky to get a point out of it. But on the whole, mate, I mean, I think it's the last 7 in all comps. We're unbeaten. Bounced back with a good performance against Villa on Friday night. Good win. So, I mean, the reaction to the first 3 games has been spot on, really, and you want to win every game, but it's expected we're going to drop points here and there. So not too bad on the whole, probably a 6 out of 10.
And obviously, Arsenal spent a lot of money in the window, the most money in the Premier League. How do you think the new signings have settled in so far? Obviously, you know, seen Odegaard back. Ramsdale has now kind of established himself as the number 1 between the sticks, and obviously Nuno Tavares getting a few minutes recently. Very good performance against Aston Villa in the most recent fixture. Who's kind of impressed you most out of those summer signings? And do you feel they're kind of all offering something to the side?
Big time, yeah. I think Ramsdale jumps off the page. He's been an absolute revelation. I think there was obviously a lot of stuff went round when we signed him. He's been absolutely sensational. He's good with the ball at his feet. He's been brilliant shot stopping. He's a leader. He's passionate and he's connected with the fans so quickly. So he's been unreal. Ben White has been brilliant again. He had a shaky start against Brentford, got ripped to shreds by Carragher and Neville, who said that he couldn't win a header. And then since then, he's been actually pretty good. So, and I think they came out and said how good he's been. So again, seeing him on the ball, White and Ramsdale, the 2 English signings at the back have been spot on. And then you've got the younger lads, like you said, Nuno, the fullback, and Sandy Lokonga, who have both shown exciting moments, and they both played in the win against Villa, and they're certainly good players for the future. Plenty there to work with. Tavares at fullback is going to provide good competition to Tierney for sure, and Lokonga is going to have a really important role to play because Xhaka's out long term. So yeah, the window's been pretty positive on the whole, and all the signings that have come in seem to have made quite a big impact. Obviously, Odegaard we knew about, so he's kind of started where he left off. Perhaps got a bit more to offer. I think if you ask Arsenal fans, I'd like to see him contributing, get his goals and assists tally up because he's clearly such a talented player. But he actually got benched on Friday, didn't he? He didn't play against Villa. But yeah, no, new signing's been good, but I think Ramsdale's the one. He's been unbelievable.
Yeah, I think he's proven a lot of people wrong. I mean, obviously, from the outside kind of looking, I didn't think he'd be great at all. Thought it was a slightly odd signing, but so far he's definitely, as you say, he's proven a lot of people, I think, in football wrong. I don't think anyone really fancied him to do particularly well at Arsenal or to start how he has. So fair play to him. In terms of the side as a whole, Webby, and the balance, etc., do you still feel that there's an over-reliance on the younger players to make something happen? And if they don't perform well, then Arsenal don't really perform well? I tend to think always looking to the likes of Emil Smith-Rowe, Bukayo Saka, etc., to make something happen. I know in recent weeks, Aubameyang and Lacazette have kind of stepped up a little bit, but is it a worry that you're kind of very reliant on those two in particular to kind of make something happen.
Yeah, the side, he's obviously put a lot on Saka and Smith Rowe. They're crucial parts of the team. If they don't play well in general, we're probably not going to win games. But on the flip side, I think they're ready for it. You know, like they've both shown. Saka's played on the biggest stage with England, and Smith Rowe's delivering week in, week out now. So I think they're both ready despite their age. Like you said, success of the team is so reliant on Aubameyang's goals. Lacazette's come in the last couple of games, done really well, got the equaliser against Palace, made an impact, played well on Friday. But I think part of our success and the comeback since the first 3 defeats has been the fact that Aubameyang has been fine in the back of the net. Last season, we really struggled because for whatever reason, Aubameyang didn't fire, wasn't scoring. If Aubameyang's scoring, we're going to be there or thereabouts in football matches because he's one of the best in the world still at that. So yeah, you are looking to Aubameyang, Lacazette, Partey as well, experienced player. Obviously, it's frustrating that Xhaka's out long term because love him or hate him, he is a leader in the dressing room. But from what the players have been saying, I think Smith Rowe done an interview after the Villa game saying that the likes of Ben White and Gabriel, the two centre-backs, are proving to be good leaders despite the fact that they're still quite young and inexperienced. So probably from an Arsenal point of view, we're not too worried about age. Like I think we've got the youngest average starting lineup in the league at the moment, probably there or thereabouts. So Project Youth, he's gone for it, you back them. If they're old enough, they're good enough, and some of our youngsters certainly are. So.
No, definitely. And obviously you touched on Aubameyang's goals there. How much of a concern is it with the African Cup of Nations coming up in January that obviously he'll be off to that if I'm not mistaken? Are you concerned that those goals are going to be hard to replace?
Yeah, because it's not just him. It'll be Aubameyang, Pepe, so two of your main attackers, Partey and El Neni, so two central midfielders. Yeah. And if you think Xhaka's out as well, that leaves you very short in midfield, especially Partey, El Neni and Xhaka, three central midfielders, and Aubameyang and Pepe. So how the club addresses that is going to be interesting. I think it's a bit longer than everyone kind of expected when it all came out the last couple of weeks. Everyone just thought, it'll be 1 or 2 games, we'll get by. But whether you have to address it in January or you just have to kind of paper over the cracks, give some other players a go. But yeah, there's no doubt Aubameyang, Partey, Pepe, especially are three regular members of our first team. So it's going to hurt. Yeah, and I don't know how the club's going to address it because it's busy period, tough to navigate anyway. Chuck an AFCON in there, and it'll be a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, you briefly touched on it, the January window. Obviously, as I said at the top, Arsenal spent the most money in the summer window. Do you feel that A, there's going to be money there for Arteta to spend, and B, do you think that Arsenal might look at doing some business in January?
Yeah, the money's definitely going to be there. I think the issue is January is a tough time to do any serious deals. I think last season Odegaard's loan was about as good as it got. It was a really good deal because they obviously got something in place that he could sign permanently. It was a position we needed. He came and made pretty immediate impact. We're going to have to do the same, and I'd imagine they're going to have to look into midfield, like perhaps a loan in the central midfield, because if you have got Xhaka out long term and then you've got the two guys going off to the AFCON, like I'd have thought a central midfield loan would probably make sense. You're going to struggle to get the player you want permanently, I'd have thought, in that window. So if you can get a 6-month option, then I'm sure the money will be available. But yeah, it's just about, it's like the January window is so hard to do deals at the best of times. So, but a lot can change before then, but I'm sure it's something that Arteta's planning.
And obviously, you just briefly touched on Thomas Partey. He came in for big money. Everyone knows he's kind of a top player. He's had his fitness struggles at Arsenal since he signed. But obviously, when he's played, he's shown glimpses of the player that he is, and he's obviously going to be very important to the Arsenal side. How important is him staying fit for a long period of time to the Arsenal side? And does a lot of your success kind of depend on how fit he can keep himself?
Yeah, without a doubt. Like, he's had his ups and downs. I think Palace on Monday was probably his worst game. Probably not his fault. He got isolated. He got played as basically a 1 in midfield and then on his own. But then Friday we put him alongside Lukonga in a much better system, and he looks $1 million again. So there's absolutely no doubt, whatever way you look at it, Partey is like this side. He's a top European midfielder. He's in that top bracket of midfielders, and if he plays the majority of our games, then we'll be okay. He got his first goal on Friday, which I think will be a confidence boost, because he's been trying to lace them in for like 30 yards for the whole season, and he's been blasting it over the bar. So I think just getting a little header from a corner might just settle him on that front. But yeah, it's weird because he had like his injury record before he came to Arsenal was exemplary. He'd missed like 10 days of football or something. Then he comes to the Premier League, and he, maybe it's a sign of the higher strain on the players. But yeah, top player, and crucial we keep him fit.
And obviously, kind of moving forwards now. I mean, from an outsider looking in, obviously, right at the start of the season, losing those first 3 games, not scoring a goal, shipping a lot of goals, it seemed very toxic, the fan base, very much Arteta. I've seen a lot of Arteta out, a lot of obviously angry fans, and rightly so. The results have picked up a little bit and improved on, as we've touched upon. Do you feel the fan base is kind of more united behind Arteta now, or there's still sections that are going to be Arteta out, but do you feel everyone's kind of a bit more behind him now?
Yeah, I mean, the atmosphere at the ground this season in general has been really, really good. So going to the home games, it's been as good an atmosphere as it has been for as long as I've been going, really. The place is buzzing. Most people I know are generally give Arteta a chance and give him a decent run. You can see what he's trying to do. He's got a clear plan. I think it would just be a bit self-destructive if you just kind of went and got rid of it now, because you can see whether you like it or not, you can actually see a clear plan of what he's trying to do in assembling this team. I don't think it's far away from being a top 4 challenging team eventually. He's putting the building blocks in place. If we did go and kind of sack him and then get someone else in, you kind of start from square one again. Like you said, there's always going to be a portion of the fan base that wants the manager out. It's probably not everywhere, not just Arsenal. And there are still them around, but I mean, they're valid. They're entitled to their opinion. But from my point of view, you give Arteta a chance, and I think that's reflected by the majority of fans, especially the ones that I chat to mostly anyway. Yeah, got to give him a bit more of a chance, because he's doing okay.
I mean, do you think that he's got this season regardless of what happens, or can you envisage a situation where if you kind of went 4 or 5 games on the spin without winning, a few losses sprinkled in there, that his position could become untenable again?
Yeah, I'd be extremely surprised if Arteta doesn't have the whole season. Something's gone really badly wrong. Like you said, it would take, I think, 4, 5, 6 losses on the bounce to get to that situation. And I think in any of the top kind of 6 to 8 Premier League teams, if a club loses that many games, then there's always going to be pressure on it. But for example, after the first 3 games, there was talk, like, is Arteta, and Edu, the technical director, had to come out and give a press conference or a bit of media work to say, look, we're sticking by Arteta. We've played City and Chelsea, 2 best teams in the league, arguably, along with Liverpool. We had half a side against Brentford. Look, give us a chance. And then we've gone on a run since then, and we've been okay. So every loss at a club like Arsenal, a huge club, is going to have huge waves, and it's going to cause unrest, and people are going to question the manager. I'd expect him to have the season, put it that way, unless we do fall from grace and end up bottom half of the bottom half, really struggling. Then he's going to have a chance.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair representation of the situation. Just to wrap up, then, mate. Where do you think Arsenal what do you think they can do this season? You know, obviously out of Europe for the first time in a long time. Thierry Henry recently saying that he doesn't think Arsenal will qualify for Europe again this season, which is quite damning from him. Do you feel that the ambition has got to just be to get back into European football? Yeah,
absolutely. I think Henry saying that, I think with Henry, he's still a fan of Arsenal, so I think he speaks quite emotionally. Like when we lose and Henry does an interview, he gets he reacts quite passionately, like we would. Like if you asked me after when we were 2-1 down against Palace on Monday, do you think we'll qualify for Europe? I'm like, absolutely no chance. But Lacazette scores, we win on Friday, and now I'm like, yeah, buzzing. I think the aim's got to be get back here. Ideally the Europa League, because that Conference League seems absolutely tin pot, and it just seems a waste of time. Like watching Spurs in, it's quite funny. So I don't really want to be in that. But yeah, the aim's got to be Europa. Got to be Europa League. Like there's no doubt about it. Get back in Europa, and then you've got European football, because it kind of sucks without European football. That's the target, but it's going to be a challenge, because like we were chatting just before, you've got so many good teams there or thereabouts. Watching West Ham beat Spurs, I mean, there's so many good teams that are going to be challenging for it. So, but that's got to be the aim.
And just very briefly, do you think Arsenal can do anything in the cups? Obviously, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. Do you reckon there's a chance there potentially?
Yeah, you've always got a chance. Like got Leeds in the.
It's next week in the Carabao.
Yeah, we've got Leeds Tuesday night. So yeah, hopefully put a run together. I think with the Carabao Cup, you always end up coming against City eventually, don't you? And they just win. FA Cup obviously is our comp. We've most successful club in it. We've done really well, so it'd be nice to have an FA Cup run. But the priority will be on the league. Arteta's not going to be. I don't think he's going to be defined by the cup competitions. Like if we put a run together, fantastic. But he's not in the job to win a Carabao Cup, and he's already won the FA Cup. He's in the job to get us back in Europe and get us back in the top four and challenging for the major honours. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, great stuff, mate. That's just Webby Sports on Arsenal start to the season so far. So yeah, guys, leave your thoughts in the comments below if you think anything different or not. Make sure you smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.